Welcome to Community Voices with your host, Tarence Lauchie. This radio roundtable features community, business, and religious leaders that discuss current events and topics that impact our urban community. If you would like to be a guest or if you have a suggested topic, contact the station today at 616-259-7342. Now, into the program.
Greetings and welcome back to another edition of Community Voices here on 91.9 FM, The People's Choice. I'm Tarence Lauchie, and I'm excited to take opportunity to meet, greet, talk to, and share resources and information, people in our community, helping the community to advance. Today we've got in the studio a great guy who's been working for many years in the empowerment of entrepreneurship, the areas of small business development, marketing plans, strategic planning, the whole nine yards. This is Ed Garner with the Michigan Small Business Development Center. Welcome, Ed.
Great. Thanks for having me today.
Well, we go a little ways back because I used to work with the Small Business Development Center, and we were just talking a little off air about how ironic it is that our paths cross in the religious sector, in the business sector, the community sector, and it's great to be able to know people for many, many years and see the consistency of their passion. This is your passion. Talk to us a little bit about what you do as the regional director of the Michigan Small Business Development Centers.
Yeah, great. So this is really my second stint with the Michigan Small Business Development Center. As you talked about earlier, we crossed paths many years ago. We won't say how
in the
many.
90s.
In
the 1900s. The 1900s. How about that?
But anyway, so we kind of started doing that work. I've still been in economic development pretty much my whole career, business development. I was as the president and CEO in Muskegon, the Economic Development Agency there for 10 years before coming back to the SBDC, where now I'm the regional director for the West Michigan region. So that covers like 9 counties within the West Michigan area. So the way we're structured, we actually have 10 regions throughout the state. So I have 9 other counterparts, so to speak. But the West Michigan region tends to be one of the bigger ones here, and we get the second most requests for assistance pretty much in the state of Michigan. So me and the consultants that we have, we really stay pretty busy.
Sure. Well, we'll talk about that. For those who might just be tuning in and wondering, hey, what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about the services and resources that are available for small businesses. May actually houses National Small Business Week. Is that correct? The month of May.
The first week of May.
The first week of May. So we're going to talk a little bit about a resource fair that's coming up, and also about people accessing the resources of the small business development centers statewide. I mean, if you got 9 counties, you got to go pretty far not to be able to have the resource contacts available to you. So glad people are tuning in today. Tell us a little bit about the small business resource fair that's coming up in May.
Yeah, so this resource fair, first of all, is free and open to the public. Anybody wants to attend. It's going to be the first Thursday in May 4th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Center for the Center for Community Transformation over on Madison Avenue there. And what this is bringing together a number of resource partners like us, pretty much nonprofits, governments, so forth, that provide our services for free or low cost. And it's an opportunity for people to come and engage with them, one-on-one, face-to-face, to learn about, all the valuable resources that they have to offer. So you often hear times people say that it's not like it's not like what you know, but who you know.
Yeah, making the connection.
Yeah, that connection type of thing. Well, actually, I think it's both. I think you need to know stuff, need to know agencies about them, but you need to also need to know who at those places that you need to connect with.
So this is a face-to-face opportunity resource where you got some sponsoring partners, the Mercantile Bank of West Michigan, and then Southtown, the Corridor Improvement Authority, Spartan Innovations, which is a Michigan State University Research Foundation, and then also the West Michigan CRA Association, and
that's a group of bankers.
Yep.
So people definitely want to come.
They've got a conference coming up as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the banking association, and they're part of that. Their mission is to kind of give back dollars to the communities that they serve, and so they're very interested in being there. They were actually given at one of the workshops. We're doing a few mini workshops, but all together, there's over 46 different resource partners to engage with. We're going to squeeze them in that building.
Right. I was going to say, is this an indoor and outdoor event?
This is indoor. The weather looked like it's going to be like 62 next week.
That's
So it's not going to be warm enough to be outside.
Yeah,
So this will be indoor, but it's 46 resource partners. We have a really vast ecosystem here in the Grand Rapids area, but a lot of people still do not know about these agencies and these resources. Every day, even at the SBDC, we've been around over 38 years, I think, going on in the state of Michigan. And every day is still people saying, I never heard of you, or I wish I knew of you 5 years ago. And so we're always trying to get awareness for what we do and awareness for these other partners. I engage with these partners all the time, so I know them intimately. But our business community needs to know them as well.
Sure. I still make referrals all the time. It's been more than 28 years since I've worked with the Small Business Development Center in Lansing or at the state level. And the resources are still fresh. The availability and accessibility is still there for everybody. You mentioned something, and most of our listening audience, a large portion, a segment of our listening audience, is the Black and Brown community. You mentioned the fact that of the total number of people that you serve, that there's a smaller percentage of those people of color.
Absolutely, and we certainly want to get that number up. Now, I don't know whether it's because of them not engaging us or because they're not aware of us. Right. So I can't make people, come to me. I can't force them. But if they're saying they never heard of me,
that means they're not exposed.
That means they're not exposed. We're not getting the message out there clearly enough to let people know these services. Now, they're all free. And this agency is a statewide agency, so we serve all 83 counties of the state of Michigan, and it's tied to a national association, so no matter where you go in the country, there's an SBDC near you somewhere. Mm-hmm. But once again, for people to say they've never heard of us or never heard of any of our services, they may not know exactly what we do, but at least they should have heard of our name. Yeah. And that's my goal, at least in West Michigan, to get that top of mind of entrepreneurs here, because our services are totally free, and hopefully we can talk about them.
Sure. And I was going to say, jump in right there. Let's talk a little bit about, we'll start at the top of all these resources, because you mentioned 46 of them. Mm-hmm. Let's say the first and foremost resource is a Small Business Development Center.
Correct.
Let's start there.
Okay, so let me tell you the three basic things that we do. And I always, to make it easy for people to remember, I use kind of a letter format for that. So it's either the CRT or the CTR. Okay. And I'm not talking about critical race theory, so I just want to be clear with that. Okay. So we do, first and foremost, we do consulting, free business, one-on-one, confidential business consulting. So I have a team of business consultants with years of business experience that can basically counsel you on any area of your business operation. Free, confidential. Now, those consultants, the beauty of it is you get assigned your own lead consultant, but that consultant has access to every other consultant in the entire network. So that's the difference between an individual that's got their shingle hung out saying, I'm a consultant, and they may be very good at what they do, but we have a network of consultants.
With people who have expertise.
Exactly. Yeah. That whoever your lead is, if they don't know something, because everybody, nobody knows everything. So they can tap into any of those consultants for that expertise that they need. So keep that in mind. Every day we're talking to somebody. Secondly, we do a lot of education and training programs. This will be what we're doing here at the Resource Fair, would be considered one of our educational programs, where we're really trying to teach people and help people understand their business better and learning better how to operate their businesses. So we do a lot of webinars, in-person trainings, and so forth too. We're constantly on the move trying to do training. There's a lot of entities doing training out there too, and some of it is very good. So we're not trying to be the training guru. So if there's another program somebody's doing, we will certainly refer them to that if it doesn't cost them anything. Our trainings are free. Then thirdly, we do a lot of secondary market research. So I did the C is the consulting, the T is the training, the R is the research. Now, there's probably no agency like ours out there or similar to ours that can do market research for you for free. And this is the type of research that large companies use to make decisions location decisions, buying decisions,
absolutely.
So forth.
Traffic patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. So since we're hosted through Grand Valley State University, so most of our centers are at a college or university. Because of that, we use graduate students to do our research for us. And so if you can't find something on your own, and there's a lot of free research out there, but if you can't find something on your own, we may be able to access it for you because we subscribe to a number of databases and so forth, that we can get information for you on a lot of things to help you make better decisions. And that's what we're trying to get you to do. We're not trying to make the decision for you. We want you to make informed decisions as you try to operate your business.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and it will increase the success rate of the business. Back in the day, it was 1 out of every 3 businesses will probably fail within this first 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that stat is still the same, but things like the Small Business Resource Fair that you've got coming up on Thursday, May 4th, could eliminate or at least alleviate some of the pressure of those success and failure rates.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's really the purpose of what we're trying to do as an ecosystem in Grand Rapids. We're really just trying to give you a better probability of success. No one can guarantee you success. If we could have a crystal ball and could predict it, boy,
we'd be successful.
Hey,
right?
like we'd be in Vegas somewhere. We'd be on the
Living on top of the world.
We'll be on the sports book right now. So, but what we try to do is going with your eyes wide open, making sure you understand what it takes to operate this business and get the information you need to make the appropriate decisions for you can make. Now, that statistic you gave, generally the national statistic is that one in half businesses
50%
in the first 5 years. But you're right, in the first 3 years is even more critical. So just to prove a fact, what we did pre-pandemic, because that through Monkey Wrench and everything, I went back and started looking at 4 and 5 years back of the clients that we worked with to see that we helped get started, to see if they still were in existence.
Kind of like a localized research.
See if they still, and so I was happy to say that the good 80 to 85% of our businesses were still in business after 4 or 5 years versus on their own, they probably had a 50-50 shot.
What do you think that is attributed to? Using the resources? You guys did your work well?
Well, it contributed to a lot of things. It could just be luck of the draw, to be honest with you. A lot of businesses just start up without any plans or anything, and because it's a booming market for it, it's enough customers, there's something they can make it.
And some people are very tenacious and just don't give up.
What happened during the pandemic, though, when things started having to shut down, everybody had to start revisiting their business models. How am I doing business? A lot of people had to get online, or most businesses had to get online. So they had to start rethinking. They had to do the magic word I call pivot. That was the word of
pivot.
That was the magic word, to pivot. We got to pivot.
Flavor of the day.
So we have to allow the companies pivot but to do that, they needed to go back almost to step one and do their research and homework on different customer bases, ways to distribute your product, get product to the marketplace, look at their pricing. All of these things were factors in that. And so I can't point to one particular thing that made these businesses stay successful. I'm hoping that we're just one of the many resources they take advantage of.
Well, for those who might just be tuning in or just listening, I can attest to it. It is an absolutely good resource. The fact that you mentioned free should intrigue some people to know that there are resources available at no cost. There's state and federal tax dollars that go into providing high quality resources, high quality consulting, training, counseling, referrals. And I think that that's very valuable. Let's go back a little bit and talk, because I always like to tie the personal element into this. You're not just some business suit. You're a guy from the region, from this area, Muskegon and Grand Rapids, and you're also part of the faith community. Feel free to share a little bit about your own journey and why this work is so much of part of your passion. I mean, think about it. Church boys can grow up and do anything that you want to do, right? But you chose this field.
Absolutely. I think a little bit of it is inbred. We were talking a little bit about it, and you're talking about the entrepreneurial endeavors that you and your wife and
our kids,
and it got me to thinking about my own upbringing too as well. And I recall, like, my mother was a seamstress herself. She's a businesswoman, basically, without being a businesswoman.
Right.
She sold for everybody in town, from making new garments and altering garments and so forth. And kind of watching that, I think, when I look back at it, I was the youngest, so I was the baby boy, and so she made a lot of stuff for me, and stuff. And I think just watching that and watching her ethic with that and watching how she built a customer base really from nothing, instilled that in me that hey, this is an opportunity for us, and it's an opportunity for, I would say, people of color also to kind of build their own wealth and kind of make their own earnings too, make their own living. So it's a way to kind of control your environment by doing this. You don't have to have a major humongous business that's
Right.
going to hire
Just
thousands of
supplemental
people.
income.
It could be supplementary income. It could be just a lifestyle business that's going to basically just support you, and so forth. It's another way to earn a living in this day and age. And really, I think I told you this. I think it's part of the American dream now of owning a small business that everybody. I can almost say everybody will at least think about it during their lifetime.
At some point.
Yeah, you get mad at your boss or something. I'm gonna do my own thing, or something. Or you may retire and still have a good health and they want to do something. Got a little money saved up now. You can do a little something. You may just be starting out. You may be a returning citizen. It's just opportunities are abound. And this day and age, I think is much more simpler even to get started with the advent of the social
think about
media.
it. Necessity is the mother of invention, and people invented ideas and innovated businesses as a result of what was needed during the COVID period. Think about how Grubhub proliferated because of the delivery, door dashing, and those types of things. Well, those are all businesses that people had in their minds that just, boom, came on the scene at a window of opportunity.
Mm.
You said that you grew up with your mom having the entrepreneurial spirit. And so what made you decide? You went to school, of course, got your degrees and all that. Tell us a little bit about that journey and what landed you as the regional director.
Yeah, so I actually have an engineering background. I kind of came from an engineering family. My older brother was an engineer. My second brother went for engineering, but he's a master electrician now. I had a sister who was a computer science engineer. Being the youngest, I think I just followed suit. I went through the engineering route, got an engineering degree as well. I really didn't go into an engineering practice. I was more in the marketing and sales. I was more on the business side of it from day one, and kind of stayed in that journey as well. Did a few things with my siblings and so forth, and just always kind of wanted in the back of my mind. I think I wanted to, one day maybe own or run a business or so forth, and actually took the opportunity to go back and get my MBA in finance because I wanted to know how the money worked.
That's right.
And so I said, well, you're going to have money. I need to know how the money works. Did that work for a bank as well. And then I started really getting into small business services with the SBDC and my economic development agency, and really found that rewarding because to help somebody start from nothing and go to something, it's something to see. Everybody's not going to make it, but those that you walk along with that journey, it's really fulfilling to see them and look back and say, I maybe had a little hand in that. And some of them are so grateful that you spent the time even to talk to them when they didn't know anything about it. And so when I was saying I was economic development president for 10 years, but I worked mainly with the larger companies at that time. Companies that already had a good base and they're now trying to grow that base and they're trying to attract millions of dollars to the area. These are more smaller and mid-sized businesses that I'm working with now. And I think I just find that work very rewarding. And I want to really be able to provide as many of our services to as many people as we can, in particular people of color.
It sounds like you locked into a passion that was birthed out of your own desire and experiences. And don't take that for granted. I mean, there aren't very many people that I know who says, hey, this is my track, this is my field, I'm sticking with it, but it's helping other people. Mm-hmm. Think of all of the lives that are touched just by one business, especially in the Black and Brown community. Mm-hmm. Just one business alone being well established and generationally fortified. You're talking hundreds, if not thousands, of people being impacted by that one thing. So when you look back over your years, how many years have you done this now?
Oh my God. In my current role, I've been here 5.5 years.
Okay, but I mean just in the business of small business
over
consulting.
Pretty much probably over 30 years now in that field and stuff. So you don't know how deep it goes in terms of how many people you touch, really. Sure. You may not know for years later. Sure. And people come back to you and say, hey, thank you so much for what you did. And so it really does have to be a passion or a mission for you. The SBDC, it's a nonprofit, so it's not the highest paid career you could go into.
Yeah, so it's a labor of love.
You've got to have some other reasons why you want to do that work, and helping people achieve their dreams and seeing where they grow is something that's rewarding for me, and I think for many others.
Well, I commend you for it. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit more about what's happening coming up real soon, and then any of the resources that you might want to share. We've got a few minutes left in this time that we're talking together, and I can appreciate you sharing the personal stuff too. But
yeah, absolutely. So the resource fair. Let me take a sip of water.
Sure, no problem. Go ahead and do that while you're gearing up to preach. No,
no, I don't want to preach. But once again, we got 46 agencies here. So I got agencies like the Chamber of Commerce. I got the Women's Business Centers. I've got the procurement folks if you're trying to get in the government contracting.
They're called the PTAC? They used to be.
They used to be called that. They recently just changed their name.
Yeah.
And they're actually going to do a little mini workshop for it as well. And so I've got I've got just your standard ones like the Better Business Bureau. If you're a veterans, I got that group called the Vet Biz Central that's going to be there. I've got I got traditional lenders, some of the banks, but then we got alternative lenders. And when these alternative lenders will kind of look at deals that traditional banks may not be willing to take on. Some of them, a couple of them are focused solely on people of color, and one is at least focused only on black-owned businesses that's going to be there and stuff. So I've got those type of folks there as well. I've got I've got people even like the Urban League is going to be there because people don't know the Urban League can help you with some of your employment issues. If you're trying to find employed people to work for you, they have a resource and things like that. See, those are little things people don't know about.
And some of the pre-screening and the pre-prep for
exactly. They're Michigan Works agency. They'll be there. So Michigan Works is there as well. So the list just kind of goes on and on. I personally reached out to each and every one of these organizations to ask them to participate, to give it their time to come spend these 4 hours, on this day, so people can learn about what they have to offer. And literally nobody turned me down. Everybody think it's a great idea. They really want to be there. They really want people to come out and get engaged with them and find out more about it. And the takeaway for you, if you're listening, you do have to register, even though it's a free event.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about the registration.
Yeah, if you do register and get and attend, you'll get a free digital resource guide that's got your hit list of all the agencies. They got all your contact names, numbers, emails. If you want anything else, you want that because now you know who to go to, who to contact if you're having issues there.
So registration is at?
Yeah, so you go to registration. If you want to go to our website, the Michigan SBDC.org, MichiganSBDC.org, and just do a /resource fair. You'll go to a landing page there. You'll see all the information there and how to register. It'll be listing of all the resource partners. Once again, it's MichiganSBDC.org. /resource fair.
Listen, I'm a register. It's been a while since I've been around that crew of people, but I often make a lot of referrals. In fact, as a professional development consultant, I send people in the direction of getting the best resources that's out there for them, and I think this is a good one. I do know of some of the private lenders that's going to be there, and they are non-traditional, which means that where people may have had trouble meeting the bank's standards, they could probably work out some good partnership deals to finance their businesses and take out those small business loans to go to the next level. What else do you want our listening audience to know about using the Small Business Center on a regular basis?
Yeah, once again, if you want to engage with us, go to our website. Everything spins off that, MichiganSBDC.org. You'll be able to see all the services we offer. If you want to take a class, you can register right online. If you want to engage with our consultants, you just register right online there. Once you do that, it takes about 3 minutes to put your name, address, and so forth in there. And then that will get sent to the center, the regional office nearest you. Mm-hmm. You'll then be connected with and hooked up with a consultant, a lead consultant, and then you just go from there. You can meet as one time or as many times as you need to get what you need done, just so you're moving forward. We have a lot of people coming to see us, and so we want to make sure that you're moving forward with what you're doing. We don't write your business plans for you. We help you develop your business plans, and stuff. So you got to put in some work. So don't think we're going to do all the work for you.
So you walk alongside.
We walk alongside it, and we'll be there for you for years to come if you need us. Some people they come and go, they'll stop, and they come back in a year for a checkup.
Sure.
All free. Here's a way to think of us. I often refer to this as like the doctor's office. So each region has a set of consultants, and they're kind of considered generalists, like your general doctor that you go to. They can treat or they can talk to you about pretty much any aspect of your business operation that you have going on. But if there's a special need, or if you're reaching a point where you're growing so fast, like $1 million or more, we then have specialty teams for you to work with. we send you to a specialist. We have a growth team, which does with second stage companies. You're trying to get from that first stage to now $1 million mark. Yeah, they're scaling that. We got a specialty team for that. We got a tech team if you're trying to commercialize a high tech kind of aspect or invention. We have an export team if you're trying to ship your products or some to another country, just exporting, not importing, because we want to get more of our goods out there. We got a team that can help you explore those opportunities as well. And so we try to be, if you're trying to buy or sell a business, we got some folks for that, So we try to be there every step of the way from your whole business journey, from when you start to when you transition. We want to be there for that lifespan of the business. And once again, I just have to say it, is all free or no cost, the way we say it, because it is supported through the U.S. Small Business Administration,
correct,
the state of Michigan, through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and then our local hosts like Grand Valley here in the West Michigan region.
Which means it's our tax dollars being made available to us through the recycle process.
Absolutely.
So take advantage of it. I mean, we're tax-paying citizens, so we may as well utilize the tax-supported programs. Clear this up for me, because I did have somebody who asked about referral for a nonprofit. I do know that many of these are associated with starting jobs or helping in the workforce development arena. What about nonprofits? Can nonprofits benefit from using your services at all?
Yeah, we typically don't work with many nonprofits. We work with for-profit businesses.
Sure.
But once again, as you said, many of the same aspects of running a for-profit business could apply to nonprofits. So although we don't necessarily consult with them, they can take advantage of any of our resources online. We have a number of tools and business planning templates and spreadsheets and things like that. They can access any of that information, but we do send them to pretty much the Philanthropy Center at Grand Valley if you're a nonprofit, because they specialize in that and stuff.
Sure, so they provide those guys.
Yeah, we're typically working with the for-profit sector because we're trying to create jobs. We're trying to create investment in the communities, things of this nature. And so that's why we stick with the for-profit.
It kind of keeps the economy alive as well. Not that nonprofits don't contribute, but the point is the taxpayer dollars, the employment, and then the reinvestment into the community.
Absolutely. So we want you to stay. We want you to stick, as well. And we want to increase that probability of success for you.
So Thursday, May 4th, Center for Community Transformation at 1530 Madison Avenue Southeast, 1 to 5 o'clock, a small business resource fair, celebration of the National Small Business Week. I think that this is going to be a dynamic opportunity for some people who are listening or watching today. In these last few minutes, tell me the most unique or interesting business consultant experience that you've had. Could have been a business type or a person, just something that's most interesting.
That's hard to discuss
because there's been thousands, right?
It has been thousands, but they way back at I don't do a whole lot of consulting because I run the operation and stuff. But the one guy, we helped start. This was a returning citizen, and he started transportation services there because he couldn't find employment, so. He started, he started shuttling people back and forth to the hotels and so forth. He eventually started working with some of the casinos to have chartered buses to go back and forth to the casinos and things as well. So he stuck to it. We would sit for hours just going through stuff we needed to do. And he took the advice by heart. He did his homework, and he made a successful model and stuff out of that. And that one was really rewarding because I think it took us like almost 6 months just to get the business plan together because we did a lot of homework and research to wanting to do it, make sure to do it right. That risk is monies and other people's monies and life savings as well.
That sounds like a success story. I'm sure there are many successes and many stories where you can say, hey, we had a hand in that. There used to be a small emblem on the doors of many of the businesses that have utilized your services. And hopefully that's still going on.
Yeah, and let me say one thing in closing. During the Small Business Week, there's going to be a number of activities around Grand Rapids that's happening. And I think most of those are going to get posted on the city's economic development website. We kind of put like a little calendar together. One major one that happens throughout the state is called Michigan Celebrate Small Business. And the SBDC is part of that. The state of Michigan is part of that. And we basically celebrate, we basically invite and give awards like show for businesses across the state. And a great deal of those are from the Grand Rapids area. The top prize there is the 50 companies to watch. And we normally have a good 12, 13 companies in West Michigan in that top 50 company wide. So that's our annual celebration that will take place on that Tuesday before the fair on Thursday. So it's going to be a busy week.
So the whole week, yeah.
The whole week is just keep eye out for a lot of other activities. The resource fair is our kind of our baby, but this
and it's in our community. That's the big thing. It's right there at the Center for Community Transformation.
Absolutely, right there. So come on out, please. Stay for 15 minutes, half hour, the whole 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's kind of an open house style event. So you drop in and meet who you need to meet, or we'll get you introduced to who you need to meet. We got about 3 little mini workshops there, and we got a little private consultation area. So if you want to do a little one-on-one, we can get you off to a private consultation.
So get some on-site consultation?
Absolutely. We'll let you go off to the private little area and at least have a little 15-minute conversation or show to get going. So, yeah, you don't want to miss it. And you really want that resource guide we're going to give you afterwards. So you'll have your own little private, like black book kind of names, numbers, addresses.
Tap those resources.
Yeah. So it's not who you know. That's not what you know. It's who you know too,
and
as well. And what you know. So we want to make sure that we are connecting people to the things and places and people they need to know about.
Well, Ed Garner, thank you so much. You are a dynamic walking resource, and all through the years, I've seen you work in the job variations. It's been a plus. You have a good positive reputation in the community. I'm glad to know you have the opportunity to be able to share this information with our listening audience. Are there any closing thoughts at all? How can they reach you?
Nope. The best way to do it is just go through our website, or you can email our general email box at SBDC at GVSU, stands for Grand Valley State University.edu. SBDC at GVSU.edu.
Well, thank you. That's Ed Garner, who's the Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center here in the West Michigan area. Tarence Lauchie, you've been listening to another edition of Community Voices here on 91.9 FM, the People's Choice, WDPW. Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to Community Voices with your host, Tarence Lauchie. Community Voices can be heard every Friday at 12 noon. This radio roundtable features community, business, and religious leaders that discuss current events and topics that impact our urban community. If you would like to be a guest, or if you have a suggested topic, contact the station today at 616-259-7342. Until next week, let your voice be heard in the community.